Hey harmonizers, welcome to this episode of Cadbury getting ready to resume his riding training with me back at home. And it's been about a month or so since he was in Virginia getting help from my friend Joe, who put the first ride on him, which was pretty exciting to be down there for that. But then I've been busy with, just mom life and regular farm life and summer life. So we are getting back to the basics. And Cadbury thought, oh my gosh, this Minnie Mouse is going to eat me. So I was like, okay, we need to slow down and do that again. And he did do work with big stuffed toys down in Virginia. This is not new. It's just that it's not something we've done in a while. And this is something that's kind of common, especially with Mustangs, that if you train them on a particular task, if you're not consistent or repetitive enough in the beginning until they have enough positive experiences with that, then they can still get overwhelmed and have emotional outbursts where they get scared and it's just too scary for them. It's just something that happens. So now you're going to see me slow down and just try to rub him with Minnie Mouse. I have Katie come over so she can assist with giving cookies so I can better manage Minnie Mouse. I don't have to let go of Minnie Mouse to offer a cookie, just to make sure that he doesn't get scared. And so then I do little up and downs with Minnie Mouse, practicing. And the reason why I'm using this gigantic Minnie Mouse is because she is soft and not going to hurt Cadbury at all, and it gives him that big sensation of there's something on you that moves around, that flops around. It's big, it's visual, and I like using this toy for that purpose. And so you're going to see he gets lots of cookies here as Katie offers him positive reinforcement. And we repeat this process a fair bit on both sides to help make sure that he's ready to move on to the next stage, because I love having relaxation and understanding before we go on to the next thing. But it is a common thing that happens when training horses, that if you've taken some time off or you're not repeating tasks, then they can regress a little bit, or they forget, or it's like overwhelming again. The same way that if, let's say, you were going to gymnastic class and you were working on going on the balance beam, but then you don't go for a month, all of a sudden it might be scary again to go back on the balance beam because it's not something you've practiced. But once you've done it enough times, you've repeated that time enough times going on the balance beam, probably you could take a whole year off or 6 months off and get back on the balance beam and be like, oh yeah, this is fine, because you have enough positive experiences under your belt. It's the same thing for horses. So he had some weeks off where I was busy doing other things, and so other than just seeing people coming in to get his dinner, or maybe I'd spend a few minutes just giving him a little groom, I wasn't really doing stuff with the saddle or with the Minnie Mouse or things on his back. So it just hasn't been a lot. And I like to move him around, let him feel all of this flopping around on him, because when I get on his back, I might lose my balance, I might flop around, my leg might not be steady. I can't sit perfect and pristine all the time, or maybe he trips and stumbles, and then so I move and wiggle with him. So I need him to be used to the wiggles and the jiggles, so that way he doesn't accidentally buck me off. Or he's not really a bucker. Even when he got rid of the Minnie Mouse, he kind of jumps up in the air. He tends to go back on his back legs. But I would hate for something bad to happen to both of us, because he gets overwhelmed and rears up or something and then ends up falling over because it's me on his back, not a Minnie Mouse, and I'm heavier, and it could just not go well. So the more I can prepare him with groundwork and building up his confidence with the different things he might experience, then we're better set up to have success when I actually go to ride him on my own. So even there, I was asking him to just move over, and then he got overwhelmed and he popped up again. And so that's a thing that he tends to do. So I'm trying to work through these little moments of him getting overwhelmed, or he goes, oh my gosh, that was too much, that you were pushing on my side to ask me to go sideways and having Minnie Mouse on his back at the same time. Those two things together caused him to feel overwhelmed. It's like, well, could you imagine if I was on his back and I was bumping him with my leg to ask him to go sideways? He could be like, that's too overwhelming, that's too hard. So instead, I'm like, okay, I let you move your feet for a minute, then we're going to slow down and I'm going to come back again. And this is a task that we need to realize you can do and you are okay, is that even with a thing on your back, I can use the cue here at the side of your belly and you can go sideways. Look at that. You can go sideways and cross your legs, and it's not the end of the world. And then we can breathe and pause and allow you time to process, give you that cookie, and we can go to the other side. And so it's a thing that's important to practice, is that there's stuff that can happen when we go to ride, and different horses, just like different people, are going to express their emotions differently and have different things that tend to overwhelm them. So for Cadbury, it's more to do with the pressure on his belly. When he's feeling that, then he can be more easily overwhelmed with everything else, because he can actually go sideways very, very well, and that's not a thing that's triggering for him. But when combined with having something on his back that's pulling on his belly, it's just a lot to process. So I want him to have positive experiences. So after all of that, we go to do a little jump, and then he's like, oh my gosh, this thing is absolutely terrifying. It totally flopped on my back when I landed from this jump, and that was terrifying. And like, could you imagine if he did like a little jump spook or something, or tripped, and I flopped on his back in a similar way to how that stuffed toy flopped on his back? He potentially could have just bucked me off there, maybe. Or this is where sometimes you hear people say, well, you got to just ride it out, or you got to have a sticky seat when you're training young or green horses. And that's where it stems from, is because when they get overwhelmed, they have moments like that. And it's best if in those moments you can just have that calm energy that's like, yeah, that was hard, but you know what? You're okay. You're doing it, buddy. Like, you are good. It's not the end of the world. Like, you're okay. And so that time was a lot better, that he went over the jump there and Minnie Mouse bobbled, but he didn't get quite so overwhelmed, which was great. And then this time he comes around and just goes around the outside of the jump, which is okay. And so he went over, no big deal. And I'm just letting him feel Minnie Mouse and realize that Minnie Mouse is okay. You're not getting hurt by anything. This is a very soft toy. He goes over and has a little hop up. And then I'm just like, okay, like, let's breathe for a second, and we're going to reposition that jump so it's a little bit easier for you. So I put it down at the one end of the arena, made it nice and wide, so it's less about trying to steer him and more about just saying, hey, can we go over, stop, get a cookie? I want to try to get a lot of those positive repetitions in there of Minnie Mouse flops around, you get a cookie, it's no big deal. He builds up to being able to canter over the jump just like that, and then he knows to come in and get a cookie. So we're changing that expression of, oh my gosh, this is terrifying, it could eat me, to, oh, I just did this and now I'm going to get a cookie. So again, up and over the jump with adding a little canter in there, because I want to get him moving with the saddle with Minnie Mouse, and then come back and get that cookie. So we're changing all that fear response that he was having, and instead changing that to something much more positive. And hey, look, you get to have a cookie. So we're trying to make it much easier on him. So here's another little look at going over. He trots over. He's starting to look a lot more relaxed with Minnie Mouse. His trot rhythm has changed a little bit. He went around the jump that time, which happens sometimes. So again, I don't get mad or anything. I just redirect and have that calm, consistent energy of, look, like, you are okay. This is happening. Minnie Mouse just flopped around at your side there and you didn't overreact. And look at that. You're going to get more cookies. So here's a different thing that we were doing with him. This is some more ponying work with him. So we've just got the bareback pad on, so that way it gives him the sensation of having something around his belly. And then Katie's riding a horse there, going around. And so he's got somebody up tall. They're going over some poles together and just moving around the arena and practicing doing more trot work. So having that motion together, going over some different things. So there's a little going over the trot poles. He went too close to the other horse there, but just moving around. It's not always smooth sailing, but for the most part, Cadbury doesn't really mind anything up top, and he's moving around. It's more about getting him to have that girth on, getting him to put those trot miles on, and I don't want him to think that I'm just running him in circles the whole time either. So I balance it with the positive reinforcement, but also when we do something different like this, then he gets to experience having communication from somebody up top that's tall up there. It's not overwhelming, and that person even stops and gives you cookies sometimes, and asking him to go, learning to stay in rhythm. Sometimes he tries to follow behind the other horse rather than beat it beside. It's just something that they have to learn of where to go and to try to stay beside the other horse. But this gives you a little look at some of the other things we're doing to help prepare him for that first ride, the first real ride at home, as opposed to just thinking that you can do everything in the saddle. There's lots of things we can do from the ground to help build up that horse's confidence and try to have it be a very uneventful first ride. To me, when I go to get on Cadbury's back for the first time at home, like fully do an actual ride, I want it to be so boring, like watching paint dry, where there's not even a question that he's going to get overwhelmed and, spring into the air and have one of those emotional outbursts. I want him to be so like, oh, okay, like, yeah, person up tall, no big deal. Minnie Mouse flopping around on my back or accidentally bumping his sides, no big deal. Like, I want him to be really confident with all of those pieces. And more than that, what happens is my confidence stays high too. So it's not just the horse, it's about me. And so if I see him and I'm like, okay, he's processing this all well, I'm going to have more confidence, which makes me even calmer. And then we're much better set up to have that first ride together. Let me know what you think. Remember to subscribe and check out harmonyhorsemanship.com for even more learning.